Semi-Casual MMA Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of the Semi-Casual MMA Show. I'm your host, Jared Brosnan, and today we are joined by one of the top prospects in the lightweight division. Fighting out of Whitman, Massachusetts, he's fresh off a fourth-round knockout victory in his first title defense. Please welcome Cage Titans lightweight champion, Jojo Skeletor Giannetti. How you doing today, Jojo?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm live from quarantine right now, unfortunately, but we're making it.
Oh, you got the COVID?
I do have the COVID, so me and
Damn.
most of my friends all got it after last weekend, so at least we're all suffering together.
I gotta ask, can you taste your food still?
I can, thankfully. I was
Okay.
I was very glad that I didn't lose that or lose the sense of smell, but it could have been rough. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. How you feeling after your most recent title defense?
I feel good, man. Mentally, physically. I'm ready to get it done again. But I'm enjoying the things that I can't enjoy when I'm in California, away from all my friends and family.
Mm-hmm. Well, such as what? What are you enjoying right now?
Just honestly, like the nights coming home from the gym. I mean, like I'm not able to do much yet. I have a sprained thumb, so I'm doing what I can. But just coming home from the gym, kicking back with my girlfriend. I got the dog with me. I got my cat, and then being able to just see my friends, hang out with them, just relaxing stuff. And then like I've skipped a couple days at the gym last week because I just fought. So it's like when I have a fight or when I'm closer to getting a fight, I never skip the gym. So it is nice to every once in a while be able to skip training and just relax and unwind.
Yeah, I'm surprised after the war that you got in a couple weeks ago that you're already back to even training at all. So you mentioned that your hand was a little messed up right now. Do you have any other injuries that you're battling through after that fight?
No. So I got stitches at the ER that night, and those came out last Sunday.
Nice.
And so now it's just a sprained thumb, which is almost 100% better. It's just got a little bit more mobility that it needs to get back, and then it's fine.
All right. So what are you thinking for the timetable for your return?
So Cage Titans wants me back on April 2nd, but I'm probably looking at June 4th for their show after that. Just because, when I go to AKA and I'm there for a month or 2 months, like I still have bills at home that I have to pay while paying for everything to be at AKA. So I'm catching up on some of those and then saving up for the next trip out to California.
Gotcha. And so with your time with AKA, I'm assuming that has to do with the fact that you've trained underneath Daniel Cormier on The Ultimate Fighter season 27. So what's it like going out there and training with the guys at AKA?
It's awesome, man. And like the best way I can describe it is it's just another level. It's not like some of the best guys locally. It's not some of the best guys in the US. Like it's some of the best guys in the entire world, which is crazy to think of. And that's what I tell everybody when I get home. Like it's just a different level. And I think you could see it in my fights that, I'm not anywhere near some of these guys that I'm training with, but I'm on a new level than most of these guys I'm fighting.
Well, in your last fight, we definitely saw a much different approach. We know you as quite the submission specialist, but in the last one, you were ready to just stand and bang with Jacob Bond. So is that a style of fighting that you think we're going to be seeing a lot more out of you, or do you think you'll be going back to the submission game a little bit?
I mean, it really doesn't matter. Bond's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's a decent wrestler. And that was something that we trained for a lot in this fight. We really didn't expect it to be a striking match. But, I've kind of thrown out like I'm a this guy or I'm a that guy. Like I'm just ready to do everything. And I think more and more people are going to start respecting my hands. And I think that they're going to go back to try and make it a wrestling match. And when they realize they can't wrestle me anymore either, they're going to be pretty screwed.
Exactly. So is that your favorite type of fight to be in? Just an absolute slugfest like that? Or do you prefer to do more of the ground game?
As like a fighter, with a career, like I enjoy like much cleaner striking fights. Like my second fight in the Ultimate Fighter, it was a lot cleaner, a lot more crisp. And so, looking back at that fight, like the next day even, I wasn't too happy with the performance. I felt terrible going into the cage the whole day. It was just a bad lead up to the fight. So I was in my head about everything. And I was like, you know what? Like I couldn't warm up because it was cold. I was like, we're just going to get in the middle and let instincts take over. And they did. But like, there's a little piece of me that like enjoys the brawl. So I don't know if you've seen any of my amateur fights, but I used to, before I really even knew striking, I used to just walk to the middle of the cage and brawl with everybody before they ended up shooting. I got picked on as a kid. I've gotten in plenty of street fights, and there's a little voice in my head that's like, yeah, just get in the center and fucking throw down. And so my amateur career was more so a fight against that, and I think that it kind of made its appearance real quick that night. I don't think there's going to be many brawls in the future unless it has to happen. And then that voice just shows up and says, let's do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, if you're gonna perform like that, I don't think it's too bad if you end up having a brawl. But so you mentioned a little bit about your childhood there. So what was it that got you interested in wanting to pursue a career in fighting?
So when I was a kid, it's funny because everybody's like, oh, he's so tall and like skinny. Like I was short and fat. I was 5'8" and I was 230 pounds. So I was just,
Yep.
the easy bully target to get picked
Mhm.
on. And, unfortunately, some school systems just don't take care of that stuff. And after a while, like it got pretty bad. It just became to the point where my dad was like, all right, well, then you just go outside with them and handle it yourself. The school's not going to help you out. And so I used to get picked on and I started saying to the bullies, I was like, all right, you want to just go handle it outside? And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm fat. You want to go fight about it? And I knew nothing about fighting. I didn't have any training as a child. I was just big and I threw as hard as I could. And I would just scrap with kids until they leave me alone. Um, and then as I got older, I found out what the UFC was. And I was like, oh, this is like really cool. And then I got into like high school and they're always like, oh, what are you going to do when you graduate? Everybody hits them with like the stereotypical, oh, I'm going to be a cop. I'm going to go in the military. I'm going to be a nurse. And I was like, being a pro fighter wouldn't be too bad. Like I get into fights all the time, so why not make some money doing it?
Yeah. No,
And
exactly.
then my English teacher wasn't super against it. She wasn't like supportive, but she was like, I mean, if you can make a living.
I feel like that's kind of an anomaly. You don't really hear a lot of teachers saying, "Yeah, go into a career in fighting." But
Yeah, I mean, Miss Barry, if you ever see this, you're the GOAT. She was actually new to the school that year, and she was just like one of the realest teachers we had. And she was like, yeah, not exactly where I'd send my kid, but like if you can make a living, go for it.
yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where when teachers can really see that people are passionate about something, that's what they want their students to go and follow. And that sounds like that's what your teacher thought there. And then so just to circle back real quick, because I'm very curious about your time at AKA. So what would you say has been the craziest story in your time training over there with those guys?
Craziest story? I don't know, man. I mean, it's a grind in there. Like they're a bunch of goofy dudes, and like after training, like we all kind of hang out and we shoot the shit. But it's just been a grind. Like I get my ass kicked every day when I go in there. I try to tell that to people. They're like, "Oh, you look so good now," and I'm like, "Yeah," because I look horrible every day. Like if you watch any of my fights and you're like, "Oh, he looks so good," I promise you, I look nothing like that in training.
Mhm.
Like even like the bottom of the barrel guys at AKA just mop the floor with me. But it pushes me every day. And I don't think there's really any crazy stories that I have from training, but just a grind every day.
That's fair. Well, you've only been working there for what, the past 2 years when you're in camp? Is that correct?
So so I did my past two camps there, and then I've done a couple more prior, but not for as long.
Okay. So do you think that for the future you're going to spend your full camps out at AKA as opposed to spending it in Massachusetts?
Yeah, 100%. So me and my girlfriend actually would like to move to California, whether for like a year or 2 years, just so it's easier. When I do get a fight, I'm already there training.
Hmm. Because you were driving a van back and forth, right, from Cali to Massachusetts. What was it like going across the country in the van?
It was cool. So it was actually a short bus that I converted to an RV. Um, but it was really cool. I saw a lot of sights and being able to bring the dog with me, he enjoys it. Um, it's different, but like I've explained to a couple people, believe it or not, it's actually cheaper than flying out there, getting a place to stay, and then renting a car. Unfortunately, I live in Massachusetts, and the only other place as expensive as Massachusetts is where I train in California.
No, that is true. So you mentioned that Cage Titans wants you back in there in April, but you're still so accomplished and so young in your career, being only 26. So what are you looking to accomplish when it's all said and done in your career? What's that next step you're looking to get to?
Locally, I just want to clean out the division. I want to win fights at Cage Titans and then just have them like, well, who's left for him to fight? Then the UFC, I want them to call. I want to keep getting better, and I want to just run through the division, man. I want to be one of the best. And I was so focused on that goal for so long. I think it actually worked against me. Whereas like now, I just focus on being better than myself every day. Like I'm only competing with myself, and since I've had that mindset, I've just gotten so much better.
Yeah, definitely focusing on the day to day. So what does the day to day look like for you, just in terms of an average day during camp?
So during camp, like when I'm in California, I wake up early. We have team trainings at 9 a.m. and I make breakfast, take the dog out for a little walk, and then I'm instantly in there. we train, shower, and then I'm back in the bus. I have my Xbox with me usually, and I just hang out and rest. I'm so tired. And then I'll either go down. There's another weightlifting gym like 2 streets over. I'll walk over there and I'll either get some cardio or some powerlifting in, and then I'll head back to AKA to get our night training in. It's usually grappling or a bike. It's pretty low key. It's the same stuff every day. It's honestly pretty boring, but it's hard work.
I'm sure. So with all that hard work, you mentioned that you have the Xbox. I know you got the Twitch channel and you're a big time streamer, trying to get a bunch of hours on that. So how do you enjoy doing that in your spare time to get a little bit of a break from the physical grind of fighting?
It keeps me sane, man. Like I said, especially because like I get the floor mopped with me every single day. I get in my head about it, like, oh, I suck. Like this dude's kicking my ass. I should be able to, win, like, quote unquote, win the round against him. So it's just, it's good to be able to just change my mindset. I can just, play COD or play whatever, and I can play with my friends back home. Just keeps me grounded, keeps me less stressed. And I've done plenty of fight camps when I couldn't bring anything with me, and I'll just sit there and I'll think about training all day long. Like that time I got armbarred, like damn it, I should have got out of that.
Yeah. No, it could definitely be I'm sure everyone needs some sort of stress reliever when you're in a sport like this. But I really appreciate you taking the time here, man. It's been awesome to catch up with you. I look forward to watching you throughout the rest of your career.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate it. I just want to say that's a dope Mac Miller flag in the background.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. I was fortunate enough. The first concert I ever went to was actually Mac Miller back in 2015. So I was
oh, that's crazy.
I was lucky to see him at the House of Blues in Boston, because I know you're from the South Shore. I'm from the South Shore too. So I went up there with some of my buddies, and it was good to get to see him before he passed.
That's so funny. The very first concert I ever went to was Mac Miller. He did a free concert at City Hall in Boston.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild. He was like the headliner. It was like when he was still dropping his mixtapes. And if you look it up on YouTube, I don't know why, but everybody was just like, they were plastic, but everybody was like throwing their bottles when he went on. The place went wild, but they had City Hall Plaza just flooded with people. I didn't even know who he was at the time. My buddy just dragged me along, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm sure that must have been a fun concert, because back when he was dropping like all those mixtapes, that was when he first really came onto the scene. I think by the time that I saw him, it was kind of after some of the hype around him had gone away. But it was such a great show to see. He was amazing live. He played for like an hour and a half or something, which is crazy for most concerts nowadays. So, but like I said,
he
really
loved what he did.
Yeah, really appreciate you coming on the show, man, and look forward to watching you throughout the rest of your career.
Anytime. I appreciate it.